And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. Coming to you live from Rapid City, South Dakota. It is the fifth and final day of the 2003 Firecracker Legion Tournament hosted by Post 22 in Rapid City. Welcome to the fifth place game between the Pinnacle Bank Papillion Post 32 team from Papillion, Nebraska, from the Omaha area against the Missoula Mavericks. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Fell. I'll be joined by the voice of Hard Hats TV, Oliver Fell, throughout our broadcast. We are happy to have you with us. A very different weather day than what we experienced the first 4 days of this tournament. It is cold, it is damp, and it is overcast, dare I say almost fog-like, as we start our quadruple header of baseball this morning. We're going to have all four games for you. Broadcast 20, 21, 22, and 23 of our 5-day presentation of the Firecracker Tournament. You've seen every single game. A big shout out to Oliver Fell, the Marathon Man, the Iron Man, the 19-year-old Arizona State Sun Devil that has brought you a vast majority of these broadcasts over the last couple of days, going back to 11:30 on Friday afternoon. And here we are. It's Tuesday, July 4th, America's 247th birthday, and we bring you the national pastime on a big stage here at Fitzgerald Stadium. We're sure we'll have a full house when we get to the championship game later this afternoon and early evening, when the Post 22 Hard Hats and the Next Level baseball team from Asheville, North Carolina collide for the title. As I now bring in my partner, Oliver Fell, this is going to be a fun game. Two very evenly matched teams from Montana and Nebraska ready to play for fifth place honors today.
Yeah, so not only is it the nation's, what, is 247th?
Seventh.
Well, it's the 48th annual Firecracker Tournament here. We've been doing it for a very long time. And these two teams getting set, they are the only pair of teams playing today that have not played each other. Papillion, they got to finish out their schedule. They got their first win by playing the only team that wasn't undefeated. Every other team they had played was undefeated at the time.
Both of these teams coming in off of a high note as well. They each won their game yesterday. Papillion destroyed the Rocky Mountain Lobos 10-2 in the late afternoon game. And then in the early evening, a game that stretched well into the night. What a classic it was. The Missoula Mavericks, in 8 innings, toppled the previously undefeated and number 18 ranked team in America, the Next Level team from Asheville, North Carolina, 12-10. Both of these teams begin on a high note, and we'll get to the starting lineups momentarily. Here comes the first pitch. We're underway. Pitch from Trevor Antoniak to leadoff hitter Carter Taylor. Carter 5 for 17 in the tournament with 5 runs scored and 2 walks. He takes the pitch over or just outside for a ball. Here's the starting lineups. First, for the visiting team, the Missoula Mavericks. They come in with a .500 record on the season as Taylor fouls off a pitch for strike one. Count is now 2-1. The Missoula Mavericks are 2-3 in the tournament, but again, they got the big feather in their cap last night. They got the signature upset, the huge win in this tournament in pool play. They took down a top 20 nationally ranked team in a game we had for you that absolutely smashed our record audience size
Yeah.
last night, as Missoula won 12-10 over Next Level baseball. Taylor hits the ball to the shortstop. Throw to first is in time, and he has retired 6-3 as we are underway here in Rapid City.
Well, for just a moment there, I gotta wonder. I wish I was in Missoula to see the kind of word that started to spread, I'm assuming, as the game went on, seeing closer and closer. Missoula, they're on the verge of what, if I were to liken, a 15-2 upset would look like in an NCAA tournament game. Between the 1-3 Missoula against this nationally ranked Next Level team, came into the game 7 games in a row winning and mercy rolled everybody else.
Trevor Antoniak's first pitch is over for a strike to Chris Compton. The Missoula Mavericks got off to a tough start. They played the first two games of the tournament on Friday late morning and early afternoon, and they were steamrolled 8-2 by the Rocky Mountain Lobos and 8-0 by Pueblo Azteca from Southern Colorado. But after being swept in that opening doubleheader but Friday was their doubleheader day, the Mavericks have bounced back impressively. They're 2-1. Their only defeat was in the very intimidating setting of playing against the Post 22 Hard Hats on Firecracker night on Saturday night. Sunday night. Here comes a swing and a miss. That's strike three, and Trevor Antoniak looking good as the starter for Post 32 from Papillion, Nebraska. Now Jace Bicary comes to the plate. Bicary 5 for 17 in this tournament with 3 runs driven in, 3 runs scored. Here comes a pitch from Antoniak. It's just inside off the plate. Jace Bicary, he is batting left-handed against left-hander Trevor Antoniak. We just had a flyby. I don't know if that was scheduled or not.
I would argue not, but anyways, we're right near
Usually you
the
don't see
Ellsworth Air Force
flybys
Base.
for fifth place games, but it is the first game and it is the 4th of July. So if that's
Missoula
the 4th of July,
it.
both teams deserve it. Papillion deserves it too. And we'll just say that was a flyby. It might have also been maneuvers. We're sending planes to Taiwan. I don't know. Here comes a pitch. It's over for a strike. The count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs here in the top half of the first inning.
Yes, ABC World News, we do consent to you putting this on your broadcast as the first sign of the Taiwan.
Here comes the dribbler to second. Nice flip to first, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Trevor Antoniak and the Pinnacle Bank team from Papillion, Nebraska is able to record a 1-2-3 inning. There were no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base on a cold, cloudy, damp 4th of July morning here in Rapid City. No score as we head to the bottom of the first inning with Pinnacle Bank Papillion Post 32 coming to bat, sending Jake Franks, Braden Jones, and Tanner Apgar up to bat to start this game. Let's get to the starting lineups that we weren't able to get to a moment ago. For the Missoula Mavericks, leading off Carter Taylor. Batting second, left fielder Chris Compton. Batting third, Jace Bicary. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot, it's third baseman Sam Matosic. Oh, I should mention positions. Carter Taylor leading off as the center fielder. Hitting second, left fielder Chris Compton. Batting third, shortstop Jace Bicary. Batting fourth, third baseman Sam Matosic. Hitting fifth for Missoula, right fielder Henry Black. Batting sixth is the designated hitter Owen McGinn. Hitting seventh, first baseman Finn Davis. Batting eighth, second baseman Luke Thorne. And in the number 9 hole for Missoula, it's Ryland Davis, the catcher. So for Missoula, it's Taylor, Compton, Bicary, Matosic, Black, McGinn, Davis, Thorne, and Finn Davis, Luke Thorne, and Ryland Davis, with Easton Reimers on the mound starting for the Missoula Mavericks, who come in with a record of 2-3 in the tournament and 27-27 on the season. Mavericks with a chance to not only take down one of the top 20 teams in America last night, the next level baseball team from Asheville, but they have a chance to leave the Firecracker Tournament above 500 if they can get this win this morning here on the 4th of July and begin the long trek back to western Montana after this game is over. There's a swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1-2 to Jake Franks. Here's the starting lineup for Pinnacle Bank. Jake Franks here leading off. He's the center fielder. Batting second, designated hitter Braden Jones. High pitch to Franks evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Batting third, it's first baseman Tanner Apgar. Hitting fourth in the cleanup spot today, left fielder Zach Reyes. There's a swing and a miss, and Jake Franks is the first strikeout victim of the game. It didn't take long for Easton Reimers to get that first K for Missoula. Batting fifth for Pinnacle Bank, third baseman Parker Ingram. Playing sixth and hitting sixth and playing short, it's Alex Immig. Batting seventh, it's Ty Tanton, the catcher. Hitting eighth for Pinnacle Bank, right fielder Brett Holsewer. And batting eighth, Holscher, thank you. And batting ninth rather, it's second baseman Easton Schneider. So for Pinnacle Bank Papillion Post 32 from the Omaha area, and again a shout out to all of you folks. I'm from Omaha. I went to Creighton Prep and grew up in West Omaha back in the 80s and 70s. It's Franks, Jones, Apgar, Reyes, Ingram, Immig, Tanton, Holscher, and Schneider. And there's a swing and a miss, strike three, and Braden Jones goes down. So a pair of strikeouts gets things started in a big way for Easton Reimers here in the bottom of the first inning. No score, we're just underway. This is our 20th broadcast here at the 48th annual Post 22 American Legion Firecracker Tournament. There's a smash to center. It really rolls on top of Missoula's shortstop Jace Bakary, and that will be a base hit for Tanner Apgar. And after that single by Tanner Apgar, it will be Zach Reyes. If you are a Star Wars fan and you remember Return of the Jedi, the mastermind in the space battle was Admiral Akbar. I was Admiral Akbar for Halloween once. There's a strike. Throw down to second is in time to catch Tanner Apgar stealing. He's out 2-4, and that makes it so that both teams only see the minimum officially as we close out the first inning. There were no runs, there was one hit, there were no errors, and there were no men left on base in the bottom of the first inning for Pinnacle Post 32, who comes into this game with a record of 10-19 and is 1-4 in the Firecracker Tournament. But again, they had a very impressive win yesterday, winning 10-2 over a Rocky Mountain Lobos team that was playing its bonus game, its sixth game in the Post 22 Firecracker Tournament. But back to the story, Admiral Akbar, he was the character in Return of the Jedi, and when I saw Tanner Apgar, I just felt like someone needs to give him the nickname the Admiral Apgar. So there you go. If anyone wants to run with that, they're welcome to. If not, that's okay. That's fine too, but I want to call him the Admiral, Tanner Apgar. Here we go, Zach. Out for a second inning of action here. Trevor Antoniak ready to pitch to Sam Matosic. Matosic has had a great tournament. He had a home run earlier in this tournament. 4 runs scored, 3 RBIs. It's really been a factor, and he's pitched well too. Here comes a pitch from Antoniak. That's over for a strike. Count evens at 1-1.
Something about Matosic there. He had a great opportunity last night, and with 2 outs, he got a pair of hits, both very clutch in that win over Next Level.
Ball is hit to center field, and it is grabbed for out number 1. Good play in center that time by Post 32 center fielder Jake Franks. Oliver, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind going in the next booth and pulling up the shade? I'm really getting a lot of my view obscured here when I look to the right side of the field. No problem. Thank you. I'm sure our radio friends won't even notice. They'll be back when Post 22 plays later this afternoon. I put the shades down. It's blocking my view of right field right now. Really don't have a view of right field. Here comes a pitch now to Henry Black. First pitch is outside. Second one is looped to third base for out number 2. That was one of the easiest outs a player at the hot corner could ever dream about, as Parker Ingram squeezes that slow floater to third. So 2 up, 2 down. Now Owen McGinn comes to the plate. Trevor Antoniak, 5 outs in a row to start this ball game here in Rapid City. Here comes a pitch to Owen McGinn. And that big pitch is over for a strike. Trevor Antoniak absolutely in command. And he's agreeing with every sign that his catcher, Ty Tanton, is giving him. You talk about being in the groove. Well, I guess we're seeing it right here from Trevor Antoniak. Here comes a pitch from Trevor. That ball smashed into foul territory down the third base line for strike 2. Trevor Antoniak trying to start this game with a pair of perfect innings against the top 6 hitters in the Missoula Mavericks lineup. Here comes the pitch from Trevor. That's high for a ball. The count is now squared at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pinnacle Bank, quality team from the Omaha area, represented itself well. It definitely had, according to my partner Oliver Fell, the voice of Hard Hats TV, definitely had the most challenging schedule of any team that made the trip to Rapid
Not even
City.
debatable. They
And,
played the.
whoa, sorry to interrupt, but that foul ball smash went right into the dugout for the Missoula Mavericks. That's the first time we've seen a ball just cause everybody to duck and scatter.
Well, it usually hits something, but
You hit the concrete in the
yeah.
back of the dugout. And there is a walk issued to Owen McGinn. And that will end the perfect game bid, but the no-hitter is still intact for Trevor Antoniak here in the top of the second.
Well, the thing about this Papillion team, they I don't even think there's a doubt as to them having the toughest schedule. They played 4 teams in the first 4 days that were all undefeated.
Wow.
At the time that they played them, they played Pueblo twice, they played Next Level, and they played Post 22. So they played, and then they played Rocky Mountain. So they played the 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this tournament pool play.
Wow. It seems
Yeah.
only right that they, after beating the Rocky Mountain Lobos from Fort Collins yesterday, would have an opportunity to play for 5th place today. And they are playing for 5th place against Missoula. No score. We're in the second inning. Now batting is Finn Davis. I love Finn's name. Ball hit hard to the hole on the right side. That's the first hit of the game for the Mavs. And now there are 2 on with 2 out here in the top of the second inning. Luke Thorne will come to bat, the second baseman. The Missoula Mavericks fans were absolutely on cloud 9, and rightly so last night, as the Mavericks relentlessly attacked relief pitcher Cornbread Bradley for next level baseball and took down one of the best teams in the United States last night. Game we had for you on Hard Hats TV that set an all-time viewership record for Hard Hats TV. It was awesome last night all the way around. And congratulations, Missoula. Your boys did it. They beat a top 20 team last night. Here comes the pitch, and that's over for a strike. Count now goes to 0-2, and Trevor Antoniak trying to strand a pair of runners here in the top of the second. Neither team yet to cross home plate here in this 5th place game that we have for you this morning on the 4th of July. Ball is fouled back to the screen. Count remains at 0-2. I always tell the stories. I was 5 years old when the United States celebrated its bicentennial, and just have vivid memories of 1976, the bicentennial year. Here comes the pitch to Finn Davis. That pitch is high for a ball. These 2 teams, very different paths to get here. They've each had their challenges. They've also each had winning moments. And again, as I mentioned, they come into this game off of a victories yesterday. There's a floater to left field. That's caught for the final out. And Trevor Antoniak walks off the mound, getting the job done and keeping this game tied at 0-0. In the top of the second inning, there were no runs. There was one hit. There were no errors. And there were 2 men left on base. We're in the middle of the second inning. It's Pinnacle Bank Post 32 from Papillion, Nebraska coming up. In the bottom of the second inning, they'll send Zach Reyes, Parker Ingram, and Alex Immig to the plate. And if anyone gets on, Ty Tanton. You're listening to Hard Hats TV. We are happy to have you with us here on the 4th of July. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you, father and son. Oliver will have the 3 broadcasts coming up, and we're excited to have Dylan Marsh back in the broadcast booth as the color analyst for the championship game today. Dylan of the Post 22 Hard Hats, just retired from Post 22 Hard Hats baseball. He is going to be in the booth with Oliver for the championship game coming your way at approximately 4:30 today here on the 4th of July. Coming to pitch, coming now to bat, Zach Reyes, Easton Reimers, who had a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the first inning. We'll try to build on that. He throws a pitch underneath the zone for a ball. Missoula, as we mentioned, there's a swing and a miss. They really had about as tough of an entrance as you could have, being swept in the first 2 games of this tournament. But man, have they bounced back, going 2-1 since then and getting back to the 500 mark on the year. And if Missoula can pull out this victory and finish 5th in the Firecracker Tournament, they will head on the bus back to Western Montana with a winning record and a win over a nationally ranked top 20 team from North Carolina. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Zach Reyes. And Reyes squares a check swing dribbler to third. Throw to first is in time for out number 1. That ball took forever to get to the third baseman. Great effort there by Sam Matosic to get to that ball. And also, I want to note just how impressed I was with Maverick first baseman Finn Davis. You talk about a stretch at first. That was a stretch.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of highlight plays at first, but Finn Davis has put up 2 or 3 in this tourney.
He is very good defensively at first base, somewhat Wally Joyner-like. Here's a pitch to Parker Ingram. That's a strike.
See, we got a generational difference here. You're going to say Wally Joyner. My defensive first baseman was going to be the great Paul Goldschmidt.
Okay.
6 gold gloves.
I know who Goldie is, but I put Wally's defensive work up against Goldie's. There's a ball outside. The count is 1-2 now to Parker Ingram. And there's an inside pitch that evens the count at 2-2. Easton Reimers has faced the minimum so far. There's a swing and a miss, and that's the 3rd strikeout in an inning and 2/3 to start the game for Easton Reimers. Now here comes Alex Immig. Alex, 3 runs scored and a pair of RBIs. He's batting .300 in the Firecracker Tournament. He waits for the pitch from Reimers, and there's a swing and a miss for strike 1. Got a piece of that one. On deck for Pinnacle Bank Post 32 is Ty Tanton. Ball is struck hard by Immig, and that's going to go all the way to the wall between the right fielder and the center fielder. That'll be a stand-up double for Alex Immig, and listen to this Papillion crowd. They love it. If you're wondering, Papillion Post 32 team, essentially an extension of the Class A Papillion Monarchs
Oh, Papillion-La
high school
Vista.
team. Well, okay, but
Papillion-La Vista.
yeah,
Yeah.
Papio is what we're talking about. I remember playing youth soccer and looking up and seeing a butterfly and a Papillion Monarchs water tower back in the day. Here comes the first pitch to Ty Tanton. Of course, I grew up around 120th and Pacific Street near Big Fred's. I went to St. Robert's. There's a swing and a miss, strike one. Enjoyed talking to some of the Papillion fans. I gave them some pizza recommendations. Kind of knew what I could compare what they were looking for to what they knew back in the Omaha area. I talked to them on Saturday about food choices. I wound up sending them to Pizza Ranch and had to apologize. We just don't have a lot of Italian families in Rapid City that came this far west to set
Yeah.
up the kind of Italian restaurants that we have back in Omaha.
Yeah, definitely more Germanic and Nordic out here.
Here's a foul ball. And we're really in the land of chain restaurants, to be candid, here in Rapid. Here's a foul ball count. It's now 1-2
What's
to
what's
Ty
the name
Tanton.
of? Oh, you just did an ad for him at the radio station.
There's
I
a
did
swing
an
and
ad
a
for him.
miss.
What was the name of that place?
Strike three, Uncle Louie's Diner.
Yeah.
There you go. Uncle Louie's is awesome. It's out of town though. It's up the
Oh.
road in Sturgis, Sundance, Wyoming, and Spearfish. There's a swing and a miss, strike three, and that will strand Alex Imig at second base. And through 2 innings, we have no score between the Missoula Mavericks and Pinnacle Bank Post 32 from Papillion. In the bottom half of the second inning, there were no runs. There was one hit. There were no errors, and there was one man left on base. Through 2 innings of play here in Rapid City, it's Missoula and Papillion scoreless. We head to the third inning with Ryland Davis, Carter Taylor, and Chris Compton due up for the Missoula Mavericks. Go ahead and mention that there is a early morning 4th of July game for baseball fans to follow in the big leagues today, and that is in the nation's capital, the 4th of July game. And the Cincinnati Reds, tied for first in the NL Central, have already scored here on Independence Day, leading the Washington Nationals 2-0. The Cincinnati Reds were able to score those runs with Spencer Steer and Ellie De La Cruz connecting on some singles along with Jonathan India. The Cincinnati Reds team, they're really coming on, Oliver.
They're young, they're
coming on.
cheap, and they are ready to go. If I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of good rookies in this year. The first time since 2008 that two rookies have started for an All-Star game. That was Josh Jung of the Texas Rangers and Corbin Carroll of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Man, great analysis there, Oliver. And yeah, it's really a changing of the guard here too. Some new teams like the Diamondbacks and the Rangers rising up. And Ryland Davis gets things started with a base hit to center field to begin the top of the third inning. So the number 9 hitter is aboard, and now the lineup flips over for the second time in this ball game. Carter Taylor, who grounded out his first time up, looking to get on track and advance the runner here in the top of the third inning. No score. We're happy to have you with us wherever you are tuning in, whether you're tuning in from Montana. I just want to say go Grizz. I know Missoula is the home of the University of Montana Grizzlies, and a big shout out to folks back in the Sarpy County part of the Omaha metro area watching for Pinnacle Bank. Here comes a throw, and it's a crazy wild throw into center field from the catcher. And an extra base will be easily taken by Ryland Davis. He steals second and advances on an errant throw from Missoula's catcher, Ty Tanton. We have seen some good throws to second, some not so good throws. That throw was way out there. It landed actually in the grass, not even on the dirt. Here comes a chopper to the pitcher. He looks the runner back, throws to first, records the first out cleanly. Good play right there by Antoniak. He was able to get to that ball, and he really didn't even have to look the runner back too much. And that's out number one. So now with Ryland Davis at first and one out, remember that a fly ball to the outfield would likely score Ryland Davis, who has good speed, from third base, potentially giving Missoula the first lead that each one of these teams has enjoyed this morning. Chris Compton now the hitter. Chris Compton struck out his first time up against Trevor Antoniak. He takes his first pitch for a ball. Here comes pitch number 2. And that pitch is over for a strike. Pinnacle Bank, wearing red uniforms with Pinnacle Bank in white across the front, numerals in the back, and white pants. Here comes a pitch from Antoniak. That ball is struck to right field, and it is in the corner, and it will be out of play. And that is strike 2, and now Compton, he is down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trevor Antoniak and Easton Reimers, the two starting pitchers in this game for these two teams, very comfortable here on this cool, damp morning. Ball doesn't seem to be carrying as much as it usually does, and that's perhaps a sign of the weather conditions. I always wonder what high moisture settings do to aluminum bats as well as what it does to the ball. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. That ball is outside for ball 2.
As a lot of engineers found out in the 60s when, Tomorrowland and things like that in the Disney parks, there is problems with aluminum and heating and cooling. It is a great metal, malleable, strong, good tensile strength, very valuable, but it does have issues. It does expand when it gets warm, and it cools and it shrinks when it gets cold. It gets harder and less malleable when it gets cold and shrinks a little, and it expands and gets more malleable as it gets warmer. So I could see that being a problem when it gets in baseball temperature.
Thank you for that analysis, Oliver. That was awesome. It was a swing and a miss. Strike 3 on Chris Compton. He becomes Antoniak's second strikeout victim of the morning. Now Jace Vicari comes up to bat. Vicari with 3 runs scored, 3 RBIs in this tournament, and he grounded out his first time up. We will see here if Missoula can bring Ryland Davis in from third base. Here comes the pitch to the left-handed hitter Vicari, and that pitch is outside for ball 2. Count is 2-0 to Jace Vicari, as Jace is trying to bring home Ryland Davis from third here with 2 outs in a scoreless tie. We're in a fast-moving ball game. 5th place game of this tournament. There's a grounder to the third baseman. Throw to first is in time. The third baseman for Papillion Post 32, he wanted to make sure he had it, and that little hesitation almost invited trouble, but the throw was on target. Give credit to Parker Ingram. He played that play the way he needed to, and that strands Ryland Davis at third base, who reached third base with just 1 out in that, or reached third base as the leadoff man in the 3rd inning. So that is a big piece of pitching and defense there for Pinnacle Bank Post 32 to work around a leadoff single and a stolen base that advanced on an errant throw from the catcher. And Antoniak gets the job done and keeps this game scoreless. We are tied 0-0 as Easton Reimers comes on the mound to pitch the bottom of the 3rd inning for the Missoula Mavericks. In the top half of the 3rd inning for the Missoula Mavericks, they did not score. They had 1 hit there was one error recorded, and there was one man left at third base. Through 2.5 innings of play here at Fitzgerald Stadium in Rapid City, South Dakota, Missoula and Pinnacle Bank Post 32 are scoreless, and now Pinnacle Bank comes to bat here in the home half of the third inning. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you. We're happy you're with us this morning. Glad to have you along. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Here comes the pitch, and it's over for a strike. I'll tell this story especially for the benefits of the Papillion fans. When I was a kid, I remember the Freedom Train coming through Millard. There's a ball lifted to right field. It's caught for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom of the third inning. Good catch made there by right fielder Henry Black for the Missoula Mavericks. It was a red, white, and blue train, and it came through Millard back in 1936 as America celebrated its 200th birthday. Here comes the pitch. There's a bunt to the third baseman. Off-balance throw is on the money. What a play for Missoula's third baseman, Sam Matosic. He has had a fine tournament here in Rapid City. That's a 5-3 put out if you're scoring along with us.
Put a star.
And we'll put a star on that one. Thank you, Oliver. And now Jake Franks will come to bat with nobody on and 2 out. We have ourselves officially a pitcher's duel, everybody, to start out our quadruple header coverage of the 48th annual Firecracker 4th of July showcase. This is game number 20 of 23 games we've brought you over the course of 5 days here on Hard Hats TV. Hope you've had as much fun watching as we've had bringing you all of this outstanding baseball action. We have a 1-2 count now to Jake Franks. Here comes the pitch from Reimers. That's low and outside the zone for ball 2. Jake Franks struck out his first time up as now Pinnacle Bank begins their second time through the order. Reimers kicks and fires. Ball is lifted towards center, and it will be caught for the final out. And that's the second 1-2-3 inning that Reimers has recorded so far as we remain scoreless through 3 innings of action here in the Firecracker Tournament 5th place game. In the bottom of the third inning, there were no runs, there were no hits, there were no errors, there were no men left on base. We head to the 4th, no score in Rapid City. We're happy to have you along with us. Taking a look at our schedule today. Coming up at 11:30, Oliver Fell will have the play-by-play action for the 2-0 post-22 Expos in a rematch game against Premier West. That'll be the 7th place game officially. Then at 2 o'clock, Pueblo Azteca will have a rematch against the Rocky Mountain Lobos, and that game will take place at 2 o'clock. What a tremendous game Pueblo and Rocky Mountain had yesterday, a game I was blessed enough to broadcast as Rocky Mountain, with the bases loaded, were able to get a Pueblo Azteca hitter to float a ball to center field for the third and final out. Rocky Mountain held on, and I mean held on, to beat Pueblo Azteca 11-10, and that outcome set the matchup for tonight's championship game. And that'll be our 3rd place game at 2. Oliver Fell will have that broadcast. I'll be along as well. And then join Oliver Fell and Dylan Marsh for the championship game at 4:30. The post-22 Hard Hats against the next level baseball team, who comes in 3-1, and the Hard Hats come in 5-0 or 4-0. So it is going to be a tremendous championship game. We'll have a full house, I'm sure, later on today and tonight, and we're happy to be with you this morning as we start things out. Leadoff hitter is Sam Matosic for the Missoula Mavericks. Matosic has a home run in this tournament, and 3 RBIs. He flew out to center his first time up. There's a outside pitch to Sam Matosic. The count is quickly 2 balls and 2 strikes to the leadoff hitter here in the top of the 4th inning. Trevor Antoniak, 2-2 pitch is just off the plate, and the count now goes full. Nobody on, nobody out. Here in the top of the 4th, these two teams locked in a pitcher's duel to this point. Matosic floats the ball up into the air, called for by the catcher, who makes the catch for out number 1 in foul territory. Good play there by Ty Tanton. He did not have to contend with the high sky sunshine because we don't have any sunshine. It is going to be a cold, damp, somewhat Pacific Northwest-like day here in Rapid City, we are told in the forecast. High temperature expected today, just 65 degrees. We had quite the cold front come through overnight, and that brought a lot of rain showers, and that's why we were unable to finish the game between Next Level Baseball and Post 22 last night. That game was called in the 4th inning with NLB up 3-1. Ball is pitched over the plate to Henry Black. Black strikes the ball right to the center fielder, who makes the catch for out number 2 here in the top of the 4th inning. These two pitchers just absolutely cruising. Each pitcher, Trevor Antoniak, who is on the mound now for Pinnacle Bank, and Easton Reimers, the starter for the Missoula Mavericks, have only given up a pair of hits each and have yet to allow a run. There is a bouncer to Owen McGinn. That was kind of comical. It looked like the catcher wanted to press the eject button there as that ball found him before he could find the ball. Here comes the 1-0 pitch, and that is low and off the plate. Owen McGinn, the designated hitter, was able to draw a walk back in the 2nd inning. He's on his way to perhaps getting a walk here. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. He swings at it. That ball lifted to right field and caught for the 3rd and final out of the inning. For the 2nd time in 4 innings, Trevor Antoniak able to get a 1-2-3 inning. There were no runs, no hits, no errors. We're halfway through the 5th place game of the Firecracker Tournament on a 4th of July Tuesday morning. No score here at Fitzgerald Stadium between the Missoula Mavericks and the Papillion Post 32 Pinnacle Bank team. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Pinnacle Bank coming up from Nebraska. This is Firecracker Baseball on Hard Hats TV. Braden Jones, Tanner Apgar, and Zach Reyes will lead things off. Will come to bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Congratulations again to the Missoula Mavericks. 12-10 victors last night over America's number 18 ranked team, the Next Level Baseball team from Asheville, North Carolina. The legendary Cornbread Bradley got the Mavericks' best last night, and Missoula was able to get to Cornbread, even knock Cornbread out of the game, and win in 8 innings over number 18, Next Level Baseball. There's a pitch. It's chopped foul. Braden Jones, the hitter for Pinnacle Bank. You know, that's really what I want. I want some cornbread. Cornbread just sounds good to me, Oliver. Easton Reimers. Pitch is high, and that is a ball. Count is 1-2 now to Braden Jones. Jones struck out back in the 1st inning. Here comes a pitch to Braden, and that pitch is strike 3. And that is now 5 strikeouts for Easton Reimers, the starter from Missoula. Now Tanner Apgar. I'm leading the charge to have him be called the Admiral Apgar. in honor of the return of the Jedi Rebel Alliance General. Here we go. Tanner Apgar in the box. He had a single and was caught stealing back in the first. First pitch from Reimers is over for strike one. Apgar, right-handed hitter, drills a ball into center field, and Apgar is 2 for 2 against Missoula starter Easton Reimers, and that's particularly impressive because Reimers has only given up one hit to Tanner Apgar's teammates, but Tanner has a pair of hits here in this fifth place game. He's 2 for 2 and rolling. Now here comes Zach Reyes. 1 on, 1 out. Reyes hits the ball up the middle. Could be 2. Stepping on the bag is a shortstop. Throw to first is in time, and that is a 6-3 double play. As Apgar is out at second, Reyes is out at first, and that quickly ends a very fast-moving fourth inning of play here on a cold, damp morning at Fitzgerald Stadium. There were no runs. There was one hit. There were no errors, and there were no men left on base after that double play through 4 innings of action in an extremely fast-moving baseball game here in the fifth place game. These two teams perhaps well on their way to getting on the bus to go back to the Omaha area and western Montana respectively. Missoula and Pinnacle Bank Papillion in a scoreless tie as we move into the late innings. We go to inning number 5 now. Bottom of the order due up for the Missoula Mavericks. Finn Davis, Luke Thorne, and Ryland Davis set to hit here in the top half of the fifth inning. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you. Glad you're along with us. This is game 1 of our final day of coverage of the Firecracker Tournament here on Independence Day 2023. Let's remember our founding fathers. They had the courage to sign the Declaration of Independence on this day, put their life and everything they had on the line to declare our nation's independence from the crown. We thank those founding fathers. We honor those founding fathers here on this day, Independence Day. Happy birthday, USA. First pitch is a strike to Finn Davis. Antoniak's second pitch is off the plate for a ball. Fans really into it here. They're underneath the overhang, so they're staying dry. No rain really. It's just cold and damp, cloudy here in Rapid City. Very different weather than what we have seen the first 4 days of this tournament, for the pool play days of the tournament. There's a swing and a miss, strike 2. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Davis, and that's a strike for strike 3. That is the third K of the ball game for Trevor Antoniak. And now Luke Thorne comes to bat. Luke, a left-handed hitter, lined out to the third baseman, his first time up today. There's a bouncer to home plate by Antoniak. These two teams playing good defense, and the pitching with Antoniak and Reimers has really been stellar. In fact, it's just been quite the pitcher's duel between Trevor Antoniak for Pinnacle Bank Papillion and Easton Reimers, the starter for the Missoula Mavericks.
Yeah, that's quite a surprise here for especially Missoula. They have had a million shootouts in this tournament. It feels like they've allowed a ton of runs all in all. There are two wins in this tournament coming 12-10 and 12-9. So this is kind of a surprise to be this late without a run on their offense and without a run allowed.
It is a big surprise. Luke Thorne, by the way, just drew a walk. And now here comes Ryland Davis. It's 1 on and 1 out. Antoniak for Pinnacle Bank. They're trying to win their 11th game of the year here. They are battling for 5th place. Pinnacle Bank definitely had the most challenging schedule of any of the teams in this tournament. And they are fighting for 5th place here against the Missoula Mavericks, who knocked off Next Level Baseball 12-10 in 8 innings last night. There's a pitch outside for a ball. Both of these teams peaking at the very end. They had impressive victories. Papillion Bank won by 8 runs, 10-2 over the Rocky Mountain Lobos yesterday. There's a swing and a miss. And now the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Ryland Davis, the number 9 hitter in the Mavericks lineup, had a single back in the 2nd inning. One of only 2 players for Missoula to reach on a single. Actually, one of 2 players to reach on a single in this game so far. Antoniak has only given up a pair of hits so far, and we're in the 5th inning. There's a pickoff, and they've got the runner stranded, and they get the runner out at second base. That will be a 1-3 4 put out, retiring Luke Thorne as he is picked off. That's technically a caught stealing. And now Ryland Davis is a strikeout victim. That's the 4th strikeout of the game for Trevor Antoniak. He is pitching marvelous baseball here in Rapid City on this 4th of July Tuesday morning. And we finish the top half of the 5th inning. There were no runs. There were no hits. There were no errors. And there was no one left on base. Through 4.5 innings in Rapid City, South Dakota, in the Firecracker Tournament 5th place game, Missoula and Pinnacle Bank Post 32 of Papillion, Nebraska, locked in a scoreless pitcher's duel. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Parker Ingram, Alex Immig, and Ty Tanton due up. This is Hard Hats TV. Thanks for getting those shades over.
Yeah.
Happy to have you along with us. Happy 4th of July. Never been to Missoula. I've been to Papillion a number of times. I know a couple of broadcasts ago I mentioned I went to Creighton Prep, and I'll tell you, those Creighton Prep Papillion Monarch games at Monarch Stadium in Class A football in the 80s, those games were intense. They were awesome. Here we go. Parker Ingram up to bat, fouls the ball into the grassy area, and there's one little boy that can get the ball and get some money as he gets there.
That nearly hit a group of Papillion fans here. It went underneath the canopy, got close to some of them standing to the right of home plate on the concourse.
It shows just how great the pitching has been in the scoreless pitching duel. We've hardly had any foul balls because these hitters are really not catching up to these pitches very well. There is another foul ball by Parker Ingram that goes into the visitors' bullpen area. Neither team has scored. Papillion has 3 hits. Missoula with 2. Papillion committed 1 error on a throw down to second. And that's a swing and a miss. Strike 3. And now Easton Reimers has a half a dozen strikeouts as Parker Ingram takes a right turn to the dugout. Now here comes Alex Immig. Immig, right-handed hitter, waits for the right-handed pitcher's pitch, and he dribbles it down to third. It's handled in fair territory. The throw across the diamond is in time, and that's 2 up, 2 down as Pinnacle Bank unable to reach base in these first 2 plate appearances. Now Ty Tanton will come to hit. Nobody on, 2 outs. Austin Reimers matching Trevor Antoniak pitch for pitch in this battle for 5th place here at the Firecracker Tournament. We have no score here in Rapid City at Dave Plew Field. First pitch is over for a strike. If you love pitchers duels, and I do, this is fun. We've had so many shootouts in this tournament. It's kind of nice to have a change of pace, isn't it, Oliver?
Yeah, the closest thing we got to this was the 2-1 game between the Expos and the Premier West team yesterday. They will play each other again in a moment here.
There's a pitch. It's high. Now the count goes to 2-1 strike. Ty Tanton struck out back in the 2nd inning. This is his 2nd at-bat in the ball game, and that's strike 3. And Ty Tanton, or check that, that's strike 2. The emphatic call of the umpire just threw me off, I have to confess. Here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that's high for a ball. Boy, sometimes the umpires know how to sell it, don't they? I like this umpire. He has a consistent strike zone, and he's into the action. And that's ball 4, and that will not be a strikeout. Ty Tanton will take a base on balls and go 90 feet forward to first base. And now here comes the number 8 hitter, Brett Holscher. These Pinnacle Bank players, almost certainly, they're all Nebraska Cornhuskers football fans who are starting to wonder if this will be the year the Huskers contend in the Big Ten and go to a big bowl game with Matt Rule as their new ruler.
Don't believe it.
Here comes the pitch from Austin Reimers, and that gets away, and that's going to send Ty Tanton ahead to second base. Easton Reimer's pickoff attempt was not handled cleanly by Missoula first baseman Finn Davis, who has played exceedingly well, I might add, at first. And that's the first error of the game. I think it's going to be an E3 on Finn Davis. Here comes the pitch. It's inside for a ball to Brett Holscher. So Pinnacle Bank with a man in scoring position. We're in the bottom of the 5th. No score here in the 5th place game of the Firecracker Tournament. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you on a holiday morning broadcast here from Fitzgerald Stadium. Here comes the 1-1 pitch to Holscher, and that's strike 2. So now Easton Reimers, the ace for Missoula, with the chance to get out of danger. And he does! That's strike 3 as Holscher strikes out, and that's the 7th strikeout this morning for Easton Reimers. What a pitcher's duel we have in this 5th place duel here in Rapid City. There were no runs. There were no hits. There was 1 error. There was 1 man left on base, and through 5 in the city of Presidents, it is Missoula 0, Papillion Post 32 0. This is Hard Hats TV. Well, we're happy to have you along with us. 4th of July is for celebrating. Just make sure you're safe with fireworks and keep the kids away from those bottle rockets. I tell you, I love bottle rockets, but man, they can be dangerous. Want to pass along my wife Cassandra just sent me a picture of the Cody Stampede Parade happening in Cody, Wyoming, and hope you're able to go to a parade if you can. Here we go. Here comes a pitch from Trevor Antoniak, who begins his 6th inning of action. These 2 pitchers, Antoniak and Reimers, for Pinnacle Bank, Papillion, and Missoula, have been phenomenal in this game. It has really been a pleasure to watch these young men work. Carter Taylor will lead things off for the Missoula Mavericks here in the top of the 6th inning. Taylor fouls the ball back out of play, and the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Neither one of these pitchers has even been taxed, really. And when you don't have a hot afternoon, you're really built to go deep into these games. Ball is lifted to right field, and it is caught for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down here in the top of the 6th. And now here comes Chris Compton. Chris Compton, 0 for 2 today with a pair of strikeouts. We'll try to flip the script here in the 6th inning. Compton has had a pretty good tournament. He's 5 for 15, batting .333 here in Rapid City. And that includes the 2 Ks he's had this morning. Chris Compton, the number 2 hole hitter for Missoula, waits on a 1-0 pitch, and he swings for the downs and misses everything, and the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Coming up next at 11:30, it'll be the Post 22 Expos against Premier West, and that ball is hit into center field for a base hit by Chris Compton. Compton, 1 for 3 today, is on base with 1 out. Now Jace Bakari comes up to hit. Bakari, the left-handed hitter, 0 for 2 today. Let's see if Bakari, who hits in front of the very dangerous Sam Matosic, the cleanup man in the on-deck circle, can make something happen here in the top of the 6th. What an off-speed pull of the string that was by Trevor Antoniak. Jace Bakari's swing was not even in the same area code. Man, here comes Antoniak's pickoff attempt, and the left-hander flips over to first to just kind of keep Chris Compton a little more bolted to first base. Antoniak pitches home. There's a bunt, and it's foul for strike 2. Jace Bakari now pinned in the count, 0-2. We'll see what he can do to either move the runner along via a sac bunt, or will he swing away as he did after the first pitch? Here comes Antoniak's 0-2 pitch, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. And that is now 4 strikeouts for Trevor Antoniak. And there are 2 men out with just 1 man at first base. And here comes Sam Matosic. Matosic, a home run and 3 RBIs. There's a stolen base attempt, and that base will be stolen by Chris Compton. He got a nice jump, and the catcher for Pinnacle Bank, Ty Tanton, had the ball just drop out of his grip, and he could not get a throw away. So now Missoula with the go-ahead run in scoring position with 2 outs. And Sam Matosic gets ready to go, and a ball just rolled somehow behind home plate. I don't know what happened and who rolled that ball there, but we'll just kind of regroup here. That ball just rolled out of nowhere. Don't know where it came from. Here comes a pitch, and that's a grounder, and that's a wild pitch back to the screen. And Compton now moves to third base on a wild pitch. Suddenly, the first run of the game for either team is 90 feet away with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. Sam Matosic waves and gets his bat loose. Here we go. And that pitch is over for a strike, and the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. This is the closest thing Missoula has had to a scoring threat since all the way back in the 3rd inning. Pitch from Matosic is over our press box, out of play, and the count now even at 2-2. We are happy to have you with us. You're watching the 5th place game here at the Firecracker Tournament in Rapid City. Here comes the pitch from the pitcher, and oh, what a break that was. The umpire's leg prevented that wild pitch from going back to the screen and giving up a run. I won't put a star on that one, Oliver, but that was umpire interference, quote unquote. Here's a swing and a miss, strike three. Throw down to first is in time, and what a difference that umpire's leg made in how that inning turned out. That was a strikeout and a throw down to first on a dropped strike three, and that keeps this game scoreless through 5.5 innings. There were no runs, there was one hit, there were no errors, and there was one man left on base. And I can't begin to tell you, Oliver, you just don't see it very often, but sometimes the umpire, they can prevent a wild pitch from getting past the catcher and going to the screen, and that was a big deal. All right, we're going to go to the bottom of the sixth inning. Want to thank all of our viewers on a holiday morning. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is the most viewers we've had for a first game of the day. Not only at the Firecracker Tournament, but when you put the Firecracker and the Veterans Classic broadcast together. The Veterans Classic, by the way, an outstanding tournament that happens in early June here at Fitzgerald Stadium, also hosted by the Post 22 Hard Hats. Cheyenne Post 6, the Sixers, they from Cheyenne, Wyoming, they won the Veterans Classic back in early June. Henry Black, or check that, it'll be Easton Schneider leading things off. Easton grounded out on a play that drew a star because the play by Sam Matosic was so impressive back in the third inning. We're in the bottom of the sixth, no score. Trevor Antoniak for Pinnacle Bank Post 32, Papillion, Nebraska, and Easton Reimers, the starter for the Missoula Mavericks from Missoula, Montana, have just been phenomenal as starters, pitching a scoreless pitcher's duel here into the bottom of the sixth inning. The leadoff hitter, Easton Schneider, down in the count 1-2. Pitch is going to be outside for a ball. A big moment happened, an inauspicious moment, about 2 minutes ago. Ball is struck by Schneider into right field and playable, and it's caught for out number one by Missoula right fielder Henry Black. But a wild pitch hit the umpire's leg, and that prevented the ball from leaving the batter's box by more than a few feet, and that kept the runner for Missoula at third base. And then a strikeout was subsequently recorded, and that prevented the game from becoming a 1-0 lead for Missoula here in the bottom of the sixth inning. We have no score, one man down. The leadoff man now, Jake Franks, is at the plate. Franks 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a fly to center. There's a pitch, and that is a strike. Count is now 1-2 strikes to Jake Franks. Franks, a left-handed hitter, trying to get something going for Pinnacle Bank Post 32, Papillion, Nebraska. Papillion, along with La Vista, located in Sarpy County. Sarpy County, the home of the Omaha Storm Chasers, AAA Kansas City Royals Pacific Coast League farm team, by the way. Here comes the 3-2 pitch to Jake Franks, and the payoff offering is fouled away right towards the concession stand. We'll do it all over again. On deck is Braden Jones. Braden has some power. Here comes the pitch to Jake Franks, and Franks pops it up, called for by the second baseman for Missoula, and he makes the catch, and two men are retired to start the bottom of the third inning, of the sixth inning. Now Braden Jones comes to bat. Braden has had a good tournament. He's 7 for 18 in the tournament. He has so far had a tough morning. He's been retired by way of the strikeout against the Easton Reimers so far. High pitch by Reimers begins the at-bat for ball one. On deck, it's Tanner Apgar. Pinnacle Bank playing the toughest schedule here at the Firecracker Tournament, trying to get to a 2-4 mark overall in the tournament and trying to earn fifth place accolades here at one of the best tournaments in the Intermountain West. Here comes a pitch, and it is a strike. Count goes to 1-1 strike. Braden Jones waits for the pitch, and he smacks one deep to center. Going back is the center fielder, and it is caught at the wall. What a catch by Missoula's center fielder, Carter Taylor. Wow. Carter Taylor was about 400 and some feet back against the wall in the deepest part of the ballpark, and he makes the catch, raises his glove,
star as well.
And that gets a star. And we go to the seventh inning with some flair in this dynamite pitcher's duel. No score in the fifth place game of the Firecracker Tournament. Missoula coming up. This is Hard Hats TV. There were no runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base in the bottom of the sixth inning. And now Trevor Antoniak here looking to go the distance and maybe even more of a distance in a tie scoreless ball game. Each team with 3 hits each team committing only one error. This has been a stark departure from so many of those 15 to 13, 12 to 10, 11 to 10 games that we have been able to bring you on Hard Hats TV the last couple of days. It'll be Black, McGinn, and Finn Davis coming to bat here in the top of the seventh. Here comes the pitch to the leadoff hitter, Henry Black, and that pitch is low for a ball. 1 run might very well do it to break a scoreless tie and win this game as we move into the seventh inning. And the umpire stopping the proceedings, calling time. And now here comes Trevor Antoniak's 1-0 pitch, and that is outside, or that's over for a strike. Count is 1-1 strike. I want to give a shout out to Wayne Sullivan, general manager for Post 22. Also to Kelly Roach, the director of this tournament, and Trevor and Darren Good, who has simply been amazing with all he does to make this tournament go. Here we go. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that'll do it. That's now 3 consecutive Missoula Mavericks that have been retired by way of a strikeout. That's a half dozen Ks for Trevor Antoniak, and that now almost catches up to the 7 strikeouts posted by Missoula ace Easton Reimers. What a game. Everything's different about this game. The weather is completely different in our 20th game compared to the previous 19. There's a swing and a strike. And it's also just completely different type of game. Here comes the pitch. That's over for a strike. Oliver, you're about to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say that this is about the point. Missoula's come through in close games several times this tournament, and you saw them make some big comebacks in clutch moments, even down a few outs against that next level team in their amazing upset. I would expect that this is going to be the hardest inning. I mean, so far it's not been too hard, but I would think that it's going to be Antoniak's hardest.
Here comes the 3-1 pitch. That's low and outside, and despite retiring the leadoff hitter in the top of the 7th, Owen McGinn is on base, and now the bottom 3 Mavericks in the order will try to make a big difference in a clutch moment here in the top half of the 7th inning. 5th place hanging in the balance here at the Firecracker Tournament this morning. Mike Fell with Oliver Fell. Happy to have you along with us. And there's a throwback to first, and it's high. And it's all the way back to the fence, and that might be a two-base error. And here's a throw to third, and he is out!
Ooh, I don't know about that one.
Missoula rolled the dice and came up
Ooh.
snake eyes,
Ooh.
and that is out number 2
I
at
don't know.
third base. That will be an error and a throw out at third. That will be a 9-6-5 put out if you're scoring with us, and that will be an E1 officially. And there is a ground out to the shortstop who throws the third, and Pinnacle Bank Post 32 able to avert disaster and keep this game tied at 0. And now Pinnacle Bank from the Omaha area will try to get a walk-off victory. In the bottom of the 7th inning, we are still notched at 0-0, or as they say across the pond, 0-0. And we are really seeing the dramatic events escalate in importance as we are nearing the very end of our 7-inning game.
Man, that last call was so crucial at third base. Had it not been there, there's a chance that the man would have scored from short with that out. The ground out there, giving the leading run to Missoula. But Owen McGuinn, they got the throw there. I thought the back of his leg and the rest of his back was already on the bag by the time the tag was applied. I would have called him safe. The umpire saw otherwise. We're down the third base line here, watching, or down the first base line, looking down the third base line. I had a pretty good view of it, though. I would say that there's a very good possibility Owen McGuinn was safe on that.
Looking back at the top half of the first inning, there were no runs, no hits. There was one error, and there was no one left on base. We now go to the bottom of the 7th. A home run would win it here for Pinnacle Bank, Papillion. One run, for that matter, in the bottom of the 7th would lift the boys from Sarpy County to victory. Again, Pinnacle Bank playing hands down the toughest schedule in this tournament. They would like to pull out 2 wins to finish things out and finish 5th. And there's a strikeout of Tanner Apgar. And Tanner 2 for 3 today. Now here comes Zach Reyes. Easton Reimers getting a "That-a-boy Eve" from one of the fans. Maybe that was one of his folks that's here from western Montana. Here comes the pitch, and that is high for a ball. This game has been very fast moving. It's just an hour and 10 minutes old. We're in the bottom of the 10th inning. I don't know what the record for bottom of the 7th inning. I don't know what the record is for fastest game in Firecracker Tournament history, but we may be bumping up against it. Ball is lifted to center, and that is out number 2. A nice can of corn play in center field by center fielder Carter Taylor, who has played great today in center.
Well, I mean, you could say that this is on the verge of being the quickest game, but keep in mind, this is still going. It's still knotted. I don't see this ending anytime soon.
We've got a conference at the mound, and I believe Reimer's day is done because of pitch count considerations. What a performance by Easton Reimers. He goes 6 2/3 innings, does not give up a run, does not leave the game with a Pinnacle Bank Post 32 opponent on base. And he must have ran up against his pinch count. That has to be the only explanation here for the pitching change. And we have a new pitcher out there for the Missoula Mavericks. I believe that is number 21, Sam Matosic. I think we saw Matosic last night, didn't we, in the game against NLB? No?
No, okay. But we did see Matosic pitch some in the game against in that 12-9 victory. Well, we saw him pitch a little. No, not in 12-9. In the close game Missoula had, or we saw Matosic in the Hard Hats game.
That's right. That's where I saw him.
We saw him in the Hard Hats game. That's that 7-5 loss on senior night. He was the starter in that game, I believe.
Well, to close the book on Reimers,
or at least relieved.
Easton Reimers with 8 strikeouts, and he only issued a total of 1 walk. Wow, he was outstanding, giving up only 3 hits to Papillion Post 32. So 6 2/3 innings. Easton Reimers will not be eligible to get a win. Gives up only 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and he struck out 8 players for Papillion Post 32. Now here comes Sam Matosic in relief. And again, this pitching change dictated by the pitch count of this tournament. And now Parker Ingram will come to bat for Pinnacle Bank. 1 swing would do it. Parker has a triple in this tournament and 2 RBIs. Pinnacle Bank down to their last out here in the bottom of the 7th. We're tied at 0-0. Ball hit hard to the shortstop and through the legs of the shortstop. That'll be an error on an E6 on Missoula's shortstop, Jace Bakari. And that puts Parker Ingram at first base. We'll see if that error comes back to haunt Missoula. Easton Reimers no longer on the mound. Sam Matosic, a darn good player all the way around in his own right, has just moved over from third to the pitcher's mound, and he looks back at first. Now here comes Alex Immig. Immig, the only player for Papillion Post 32 to have an extra base hit today. He had a double back in the 2nd. He's 1 for 2 on the morning. A double here would win the game potentially. Runner takes off, throw down to second is not in time. The Missoula Mavericks fans vehemently disagree, and that will be a stolen base. And Parker Ingram is in scoring position. And listen to these Missoula fans.
I mean, they stopped as soon as he did that.
They were not happy.
They were, yeah, there was some uproar.
Here comes a pitch to Alex Immig. The winning run is at second base. An error and a controversial call at second on a stolen base attempt has given Pinnacle Bank a chance to win it here in the bottom of the 7th. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Immig from Sam Matosic. It's high and outside, high and inside rather, and it's now a 2-2 count. If Immig can get his pitch here, he could win the game for Pinnacle Bank. No score. We're in the bottom of the 7th. There's an outside pitch from Matosic, and the count goes full. Pinnacle Bank, Post 32, trying to score the first and only run of this game right here in the bottom of the 7th inning in the scoreless tie. Ball is struck to left. It is right at the left fielder who makes the catch to retire the side. We have played 7 innings and we have not seen a single run scored by either of these 2 teams. We go to extra innings in the bottom of the 7th inning. There were no runs. There were no hits. There was 1 error, and there was 1 man left on base. We go to extras here in Rapid City. This is Hard Hats TV. I get all the good games.
Yeah.
We will have a pitching change as we begin extra innings coming out of the bullpen for Papillion Post 32. Is the new pitcher Aiden Vodka. Aiden Vodka. You've seen him play. I know I've seen him play in the field. He is an infielder for Pinnacle Bank, Post 32 from Papillion, Nebraska, and he will now relieve Trevor Antoniak, who had a phenomenal performance. Antoniak, 7 innings. Only gave up 3 hits, no runs allowed. He had a total of 6 strikeouts on the morning, and he only issued a pair of walks to the Missoula Mavericks. So again, Trevor Antoniak went 7 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, no runs, 2 walks issued, 6 strikeouts, and because it was a pitcher's duel and we're scoreless going into extra innings, Trevor Antoniak will not factor in the decision of this 5th place game here in Rapid City between the Missoula Mavericks from Missoula, Montana, and the Papillion, Nebraska team sponsored by Pinnacle Bank and also Post 32. So here we go. Missoula comes up in the top half of the 8th inning. They will send Luke Thorne, Ryland Davis, and Carter Taylor to the plate. And the first pitch from Aiden Vodka is over for strike 1. This game has really been entertaining. It just goes to show that you don't have to, there's a foul ball down the line, you don't have to have runs to have a good time when it comes to baseball. You can be extremely entertained by a pitcher's duel. It's one of the marvels of this great game we love so much. There's a swing and a miss. Throw down to first. We'll retire the leadoff batter, Luke Thorne, and that'll be a strikeout for Aiden Vodka right out of the gate here for Pinnacle Bank Papillion. Now Ryland Davis will come to bat. Davis today 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout.
Leads this team in batting average so far in this tourney, all in all. With that 1 for 2, he's now 5 for 12, batting nearly 500.
Ryland Davis, first pitch he sees is a ball. Davis wheels around his bat, watches an extremely high pitch sail out of the zone. Vodka able to retire the first Maverick he faced. It doesn't look like he has the command, though, that Trevor Antoniak displayed through his 7 innings of work today. There's a strike. Count now goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Here comes a pitch from Vodka. That's a swing and a miss, and Davis really went fishing on that one. Now we'll see the 2-2 pitch coming up here with 1 out, nobody on in the top of the 8th inning. We're in a scoreless tie. That's a high pitch. Count now goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1 run may very well decide this game here in extras. There's a pitch, and that's strike 3, and boy, did Missoula disagree with that call. That payoff pitch is strike 3, and that is 2 Ks to start the inning for Aiden Vodka.
Well, from where I could see, that was a little bit in, but it might have caught the plate. That was a borderline call. The umpire decided it was a strike.
Well, and the call has been there throughout the morning, and so that's why you credit
That's
the
not
call.
very egregious.
You give the umpire credit because he's been consistent with that inside pitch throughout these 7+ innings here today. There's a pitch, and it is off the plate for ball 2. Vodka able to retire the first 2 hitters. He's facing Carter Taylor. What a great play Carter made in center field, catching the ball in the deepest part of Fitzgerald Stadium up against a warning track in center 2 innings ago. There's a pitch by Vodka, and that is over for a strike. The count is 3-1 to Taylor. Very dangerous hitter in the on-deck circle. Chris Compton in the heart of the order, waiting to come to bat for Missoula. Ball slapped to third. There's a bouncer to first, and that is in time to retire the side. Pinnacle Bank from Papillion, Nebraska, able to get a 1-2-3 inning, backing up relief pitcher Aiden Vodka. There were no runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base, and a pair of strikeouts in the visitors' half of the 8th inning. And now, Pinnacle Bank with an opportunity as they send the bottom third of their order up against Sam Matosic, who came out of the bullpen at the end of the 7th inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th here in extras in a scoreless tie in our Firecracker 5th place game. Game 1 of our quadruple header today on Hard Hats TV.
Well, if this is game 1, I'm excited to see what the other 3 have in store.
Exactly.
Both of these teams pretty hard hitting. None of them able to get much. It's a real pitcher's duel. Was not expecting that. Been solid defense all around. A few errors, nothing too major. And both teams just trying to get that first run. Papillion's going to have a chance to walk off with their first run of the day.
Let's see what happens. And something to keep in mind, especially for Papillion Bank, for Pinnacle Bank Papillion, and that is the fact that the heart of the order is due up in the top of the 9th inning if this game goes one more extra inning. So if you're Pinnacle Bank, if you could score the walk-off victory here and keep those big Missoula bats who last night all kind of combined to help knock off the number 18 in America, if you could keep the heart of the order away from the diamond and win the game here in the 8th, I think that would be huge. So this is a very big moment for Pinnacle Bank in this scoreless tie. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. First 2 pitches from Matosic are strikes, and strike 3 is recorded right there on Ty Tanton. 3 pitches and out. That's Matosic's first strikeout today. And now here comes Brett Holscher. Again, Missoula will send Compton, Bakary, and Matosic to the plate in the top of the 9th if they get to play the 9th. Ball is popped up and caught by the second baseman for out number 2. Holscher 0 for 3 today. And now here comes Easton Schneider. He's 0 for 2 in this ball game. He would love to flip the lineup, flip the batting order here in the bottom of the 8th and get on base. He swings and misses. Of course, one home run would win it right here for Pinnacle Bank Papillion Post 32. So far, Easton Schneider has not hit one out of the park in this tournament. There's a pitch. That's a strike. Count is now 0-2, and Sam Matosic is 1 strike away from a 1-2-3 inning here in the bottom of the 8th. Ball is hit hard to left, and it's caught, and that's a 1-2-3 inning. Making the catch in left field for Missoula is Chris Compton, and that keeps this game scoreless as we go to the 9th inning here in this scoreless and extended but fast-moving 5th place game here in Rapid City. There were no runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base. We go to the 9th here in Rapid City. Missoula and Papillion Post 32 scoreless. What a game to start our 4th of July quadruple header showcase. You're watching Hard Hats TV. Mike Fell with you, Chris Compton, Jace Bakary, and Sam Matosic. And if anyone gets on, Henry Black lined up to go here in the top of the 9th against Aiden Vodka. This is a very big sequence in this game because Missoula will send their 2, 3, and 4 hitters to the plate right here, right now in the top half of the 9th. And Sam Matosic, the pitcher from Missoula, coming out of the bullpen to relieve the outstanding Easton Reimers, has really looked at home. Vodka has been effective, but Vodka's command has not been the same that we have seen from reliever Sam Matosic from Missoula. Let's see what happens here. This could very well be, here in the top of the ninth, the half inning, that one way or another will go a long ways to deciding this game. Here comes Aiden Vodka to face Chris Compton. Compton 1 for 3 today with a pair of strikeouts. Pitch to Compton is high for a ball. One play to look back on is there was a wild pitch when Sam Matosic was at third base that hit the umpire's leg. Here's a grounder to third. Throw to first is in time for out number 1. I know I've harped on that a few times, but man, if the umpire's leg wasn't where it was, Missoula may have very well pulled out a 1-0 victory. Instead, here we play on in the ninth. Now coming to bat is Jace Beccari. He's 0 for 3 today. Beccari with a pretty good tournament with 3 runs scored and 3 RBIs in the first 5 games played for the Missoula Mavericks. There is a bouncer by Aiden Vodka. Count is 0-1. And the manager for Pinnacle Bank, Nate McCabe, he kind of steps out of the dugout. Not sure what he was maybe going to go do. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Jace Beccari, left-handed hitter, waits for right-hander Vodka's offering, and that pitch is high and out of the zone for a ball. Count is 2-1, nobody on, 1 out here in the top of the ninth inning. On deck, the very dangerous Sam Matosic, the cleanup hitter from Missoula. Ball is hit up the middle and through for a base hit for Jace Beccari, and that will be a single. And now Matosic, who I mentioned, has hit a home run, scored 4 times in this tournament, is due. He is 0 for 3 today and has driven in 3 Mavericks in this tournament. He steps in with a chance also to give himself a win as a pitcher in relief here. Here comes the pitch from Aiden Vodka. Now a pickoff throw back to first sends Beccari scrambling back to the bag. No score. We're bringing you the 5th place game, the first game of the day here on Independence Day at the Firecracker Tournament in Rapid City. Aiden Vodka nods to his catcher, pitches, throw back behind the runner, will not produce anything of great consequence, and the count now is 1-0 to Sam Matosic. Aiden Vodka in relief of Antoniak pitches to the plate, and that's high for ball 2. Right now, Pinnacle Bank may be breathing a little bit harder than normal, facing the heart of the order in this scoreless tie here in the top of the ninth inning. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you from Rapid City. Been great to be with you the last few days. This is game 20 out of 23 broadcasts that we have brought to you with our marathon coverage of the 48th annual Firecracker Tournament. Vodka gets his sign, throws home, and that is high, and that's ball 4. And that's a 4-pitch walk. And I made the observation earlier, not very much earlier, that Vodka doesn't look as solid with his command. There are now 2 on with 1 out. And here comes Henry Black. Black struck out his last time at bat back in the 7th when he faced Trevor Antoniak. He's 0 for 3 today. Black, a very good tournament, has scored 5 runs, but he's only driven in 1 man. The go-ahead run is now at second base in the person of Jace Beccari with 1 out. 2 men on, 1 out. The double play ball is in effect. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Henry Black, and that ball is lifted to left. It's playable, and it is caught for out number 2, and there will be no tag attempt as very quickly left fielder Zach Reyes gets the ball back to the infield. So that was a big out recorded there by Aiden Vodka. And now there are 2 men down with 2 men on. And here comes Owen McGinn, the DH. McGinn 0 for 1 in this ball game. He reached with the walk and reached with an error earlier. Here comes the pitch to Owen McGinn, and that pitch is inside for ball 1. What a game this has been. We don't have the low cloud deck that we had earlier, but still no signs of sunshine. It's a cool, damp morning here in Rapid City. There's a pitch that is a strike. Now Aiden Vodka 2 strikes away from getting out of a jam with 2 on and 2 out here in the top of the 9th inning. Vodka looks back to second, now fires home. What a curveball, but he just misses the target. Count now shakes to 2-1. On deck for the Missoula Mavericks is Finn Davis. Dangerous hitter. Here comes Vodka's pitch, and that ball is lined right to the first baseman, who retires the side for Pinnacle Bank Papillion from the Omaha area. What a great piece of negotiation by pitcher Aiden Vodka. He strands a pair of Missoula Mavericks at first and second base. Making that catch a moment ago was first baseman Tanner Apgar for Pinnacle Bank. And in the top of the 9th, the Missoula Mavericks do threaten. They leave 2 men on base and 1 man at second, but they do not record a run. They had 1 hit, there was no error, and there were 2 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning here in Rapid City. 5th place is on the line. Sam Matosic is out for his 3rd inning of work. And the top of the order is due up for Nate McCabe's Post 32 Pinnacle Bank Papillion Ball Club, as Jake Franks, Braden Jones, and Tanner Apgar are due up here to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning. We have had a scoreless tie. If you're just joining us, happy 4th of July, and we have had masterful pitching. These 2 teams each yet to score a run, and they have combined for 7 hits between both teams through 8.5 innings of play. Now Jake Franks comes to bat. Franks has had a darn good tournament, but he's 0 for 3 this morning. Here comes Sam Matosic's first pitch here in the bottom of the 9th to Franks. And that's a high swing and a miss. Franks wanted everything with that cut. Franks, a left-handed swinger, waits for the right-hander's pitch. Matosic delivers. That ball is struck into right field, and for the first time since that's the first time all day the leadoff man is aboard for Pinnacle Bank. You just don't see that very often. You go 8 innings, 9 innings, and finally a team gets the leadoff man aboard. We'll see what Pinnacle Bank can do with it. Papillion Post 32 with a chance to get a walk-off victory here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Throw back to first is not in time. It was a good pickoff move by Sam Matosic, who customarily plays the hot corner for the Mavericks. 1 man on, nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 9th. Braden Jones, the DH, the number 2 hitter, squares to bunt, and that ball will be thrown. That pitch is outside. Throw to second, not in time, and Jake Franks steals second base. And now Pinnacle Bank getting fired up in the dugout. I see one of the Post 32 players doing a tomahawk chop. They're excited. Maybe that player's a Braves fan or a Seminoles fan. Hope not. He's from Nebraska. Hope he's not a Seminoles fan. There's a pitch outside. There's a swing and a miss. Count is even to Braden Jones now, and Jones will not look to bunt. He appears to be swinging away. He initially showed bunt when Franks was at first base. Franks, the winning run, will watch a ball get lifted to the outfield, and that will drop, and that will move the winning run to third base. Braden Jones able to get a base hit, and after a pair of hits, Matosic and the Missoula Mavericks have their back against the wall big time. Nobody out, 2 men on, and here comes Tanner Apgar, who is 2 for 3 today with a chance to win the game with either hard contact, with an infield smash perhaps, or any kind of a fly ball to the outfield. Franks, the leadoff man, is at third base, and he has excellent speed, and he would easily be able to tag in from third and score the winning run and win a 1-0 game for Post 32. Papillion, Post 32, has faced a murderer's row when it comes to the schedule they've played in this tournament, going up against Next Level, Post 22, Pueblo Azteca twice. They would love to come out of here with a victory and a 5th place finish. Here comes the pitch to Tanner Apgar, and it's outside for over for a strike. Runners are at the corners. Tanner Apgar with a chance to win it here with 2 on and nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you from Rapid City. High pitch from Matosic evens the count at 1-1. Pinnacle Bank with a golden opportunity to come through here and celebrate a win and a happy bus ride back to Omaha. There's a pitch high for a ball. Count goes to 2-1. Matosic looks inside for his sign. Runners at the corners, nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 9th inning. Matosic's pitch is a swing and a miss. Strike 2. Tanner Apgar trying to be the man of the moment and send Pinnacle Bank into a frenzy. 5th place game coming down to the bottom of the 9th here in extras. Matosic's pitch is fouled out of play by Tanner Apgar, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Coming up next, it'll be the Post 22 Expos and the Premier West team from Arvada, Colorado. That'll be the 7th place game. Oliver Fell will have the call for you. Here comes a pitch, and it's a wild pitch, and that might win the game, and it will, as sliding across home plate on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 9th is Jeff Franks, and Pinnacle Bank from Papillion, Nebraska wins 1-0 with Sam Matosic's wild pitch going beyond the catcher's glove, fully extended, and Pinnacle Bank finds a way to come out on top, scoring 1 run. There were no outs recorded in the bottom of the 9th. A walk-off wild pitch victory, all set up by a single, a pair of singles and a stolen base, finished by a wild pitch, lifts the red and white of Papillion, Nebraska, the Pinnacle Bank Post 32 team to victory. Pinnacle Bank Papillion Post 32 is your 5th place finisher here at the Firecracker Tournament, and for the Missoula Mavericks, who finished their tournament at 2-4 and dropped to below 500 on the season to 27-28, Missoula can hold their head high because they beat the number 18 team in America last night 12-10, taking down the Asheville, North Carolina Next Level baseball team with a bunch of stars up and down that team. But today, Papillion able to string together a pair of wins, including a win over Rocky Mountain from Fort Collins yesterday, and now a 9-inning, 1-run, 1-0 pitcher's duel victory over the Missoula Mavericks. Congratulations to Nate McCabe and his Papillion Post 32 Pinnacle Bank Ball Club. They now are 11-19 on the season. Of course, they face outstanding Omaha teams all the time. Don't let that record fool you. And Pinnacle Bank comes out with a record of 2-4. And again, those 4 losses were against the teams that are in the first place and third place games today. So it was a great tournament all in all for Papillion Post 32. They finish in 5th place and they win 1-0. Recapping the game, Papillion out-hit Missoula 5-4. Each team committed a pair of errors. There were 2 outstanding starting pitching performances turned in by Trevor Antoniak for Papillion Post 32 and for Easton Reimers for the Missoula Mavericks from Missoula, Montana. And neither one of those starters would factor into the decision, but Aiden Vodka gets the victory working 2 innings of scoreless relief, and it was Sam Matosic being hung with the loss. He pitched an inning and a third, pitched well overall, but when Pinnacle Bank was able to get Jeff Franks and Braden Jones on base back-to-back and put runners at the corners with no out, there was no margin for error, and when a pitch from Sam Matosic sailed over the outstretched glove of Ryland Davis, the catcher for Missoula, that was all she wrote, as it was Jake Franks, the leadoff man for Pinnacle Bank, racing from third base to home plate and sliding in safely without any contention at the plate, that gave Papillion Bank a 1-0 victory. Well, this was a lot of fun. It's been great being with all of you. Thank you for tuning in. We had a record high for a morning broadcast here on Hard Hats TV. Our final score from Rapid City in the 5th place game of the 48th annual Firecracker Tournament 2023. It was Pinnacle Bank Post 32 from Papillion, Nebraska 1, and the Missoula Mavericks from Missoula, Montana 0 in 9 innings. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the Post 22 Expos and the Premier West team from Arvada, Colorado. Oliver Fell will bring you play-by-play for the next 3 games today. For Oliver Fell, this has been Mike Fell. Thanks for watching, and good morning and happy 4th of July. Hope you enjoyed this 9-inning game on Hard Hats TV.
There we go.